Around 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning, I've dressed up slightly to go to Newcastle. We are heading to Newcastle today to go to the Jet Alumni Association pre-departure something or other. Basically, we're going to go and learn a bit of Japanese. Oh goodness, it's raining. Well, these things happen. Basically, we're going to be learning a little bit of Japanese. I know some Japanese, but it'll be nice to actually practice with a teacher who speaks Japanese. We're going to be meeting other Jets who have been on the program and are now alumni, so have come back to the UK. And I'm going to be meeting people who have not yet gone on the program, just like me. So pre-Jet people, if that makes any sense. So that's where I'm going today. I've got a 100-mile trip to get to Newcastle. So, let's get started. I am feeling every single raindrop on my head. I'm freshly bald today. So now the question remains, what songs are we going to listen to for 2 hours on our trip down to Newcastle? Seatbelt for safety. I've been trying a little bit to get to grips with some Japanese songs. In the car, the question is, what Japanese songs are we going to listen to on the way to practice? I can't play any here now for copyright reasons, but I found some about a penguin not wanting to leave his futon on a morning because it's too cold. And the same artist does a song about not wanting to leave the house because it's too warm. Excellent practice opportunity right there. Spa. Okay, just finished the 2-hour drive. I'm up here now in Newcastle, parked on some random civilian street somewhere so that I can go and get the metro into town, because I hate driving in cities. I just don't make me do it. Please, for the love of all that's holy, do not make me drive in a city. So the outskirts of a city I think I can manage. We're parked up somewhere that we're just allowed to park for the whole day without paying anything, and that is so much better considering that, I've driven 100 miles to get here. I don't want to have to be paying for fuel all day as well, especially in a city. It'll be like at least £10 plus whatever it is. So I've arrived early, earlier than I should have done. I think it starts at 12. It's around about 10 o'clock now, but I have picked up some Smints because we all need to be a little bit more minty.
I think I will sample the local cuisine. Why, aye, nothing quite like a sausage roll. We met at a matcha tea restaurant just round the corner of Chinatown in Newcastle.
We are back in the car. Initial thoughts from the day is that it was really productive. I feel like we spent a lot of time asking questions and having them answered, which, having now done that, it felt a lot more productive than it would have been on something like Reddit, in the Jet program Reddit or anything like that. I think the chance to practice some Japanese was fantastic. I was able to understand a lot more than I thought I would be able to, which was great.
To gather my thoughts, I think that the drive was well worth it. Sure, I lost 4 hours of my Saturday to drive up, but in the end I got to meet with people of a similar ilk and speak to those who had been on the programme before. The session lasted from 12 until around 2, but we stayed until just gone 5 PM, chatting up a storm. It truly felt like an open forum and Q&A session. Everyone was super friendly and had invaluable advice, like the types of gifts you might buy from the UK to take with you when you go over there, or how to speak with low-grade students who won't speak very much English. We started with a conversation about where people were placed and how they felt. The other 3 jets there were all placed miles away from me and expressed their own unique perceptions of the program and the potential excitements and hurdles. For instance, one of the other jets is to be placed on a small island and will need to use the boat network to get anywhere in Japan other than his base of operations, and mentioned that he believed his survival instincts would kick in for his language acquisition. You and me both, buddy. The previous jets also told us about their own experiences, which were again different to what mine will be, though I did speak with a former jet who lived in a village with only 900 residents, making it even smaller than my village, and even smaller than my current school, for that matter. We were told about the gaijin card, a metaphorical tool at our disposal to try and weasel our way through some of the less favourable Japanese cultural expectations. For instance, it may well be likely that taking Christmas off work won't be too much of a problem, and the long work hours might not be as impactful for us because the program protects us from working overtime. We were also warned of the gaijin smash, which is where foreigners use their foreignness to instead brute force their own way of doing things in Japan. I think there'll be checks and balances here and there. I asked a lot of questions about language acquisition and free time. For those that lived in the smaller village, walking became a favourite pastime. Food was consistently brought up and travel was also well liked. In terms of the language, most of the people I spoke with studied at university and took a gap year, which made their advice a little less applicable to myself, who's a self-study. However, it was mentioned that often you can find Japanese tutors in the area, and some people who are more than willing to tutor you in Japanese in exchange for tutoring in English. So I can only but hope I find someone like that in my village. Part of the session was some Japanese top tips, including practice for the Chiko Shokai, a formal introduction to new people. Some who will be playing. One jet even recommended you include your blood type, as the Japanese treat these like horoscopes. I have no idea what my blood type is. We wrote our own variations of the templates and went around quizzing people.
はじめまして。私はルーク・ウィリアムズです。イギリスのリーズから来ました。ウォーハマーのフィギュアの色を塗るのが好きです。よろしくお願いします。
It was clear that my own level was higher than the basic. Also painfully obvious it wasn't as high as the pros. So, as I went around and spoke with people, I tried to target those who could speak Japanese well and garner more information from them than the template intended. I like ramen. Do you like cooking ramen? I like cooking ramen. How often do you cook ramen? Every now and then. I like to travel. Where in Japan do you like to travel? Okinawa. Okinawa is hot, isn't it? Okinawa is very hot. It's incredibly basic. It almost feels like when you do your language lessons in secondary and you have to talk about the most mundane topics. But as I was stringing together these sentences, it felt truly wonderful to know that all my study was for a purpose and it was paying off. I'm currently considering taking a few online Japanese lessons to see where it can get me before I go. And Ai Sensei, who I will link below, has great rates and an excellent personality and teaching ethos from what I could tell. It's getting close now, 5 weeks to go. Having an outlet to express excitement and trepidations with those who had been through similar experiences has settled me in many ways I didn't know that I needed.